King Abdullah's death sparked a small hike in oil prices, but most analysts expect that to be temporary, with prices lingering a little below $50 a barrel. Now, there's no doubt our local economy is going to be feeling the pinch. News of layoffs at major employers like Baker Hughes and Schlumberger may just be the beginning. More people out of work, fewer being hired, eventually means fewer folks buying and renting homes. Steve Davis is a real estate investor and mentor with an optimistic view. Good morning and thanks for being here first off.
Thank you.
When we think in terms of oil prices that have really dropped drastically, how do you see this affecting our community?
Well, when you see layoffs, you're going to see, as you mentioned, a slowing of the purchasing of property. I think it's especially going to affect the subdivisions near those campuses. Those are going to see a dramatic drop, but overall, I'm more optimistic, as you mentioned. I think that we have a much more diverse economy than we did in the 80s when we saw this happen before. That it's not going to be as big a factor as that people should not be that worried about it.
Okay, but if folks aren't getting hired, they're not going to have money in order to rent or to buy a home.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, first off, there's a lot of people out there. My students are buying rent property, so there's going to be plenty of rent property out there for them. But, yeah, they're still going to be able to buy rent and lease. They're actually making it a little bit easier to qualify for mortgages, and it's going to get easier.
So you're saying that the market is going to get better for those individuals?
I think so.
What do you see as all of the oil prices going down, doing, let's say, to the medical community, because that does feed off of the energy industry in our community? Wow,
that's probably over my head to even answer, to be honest with you, and I apologize.
No problem, no problem. Real estate investing is exactly what you do, but what about people who can only buy one, not multiple properties?
Well, one thing that people need to understand is that that's not true. Almost anybody that can buy one can buy more than one. When you go buy a home, that's a liability. So they make you jump through, I guess I should say it this way. It's actually easier to buy rent property than it is to buy your own home, because your own home is a liability. Rent property is an asset. It comes with its own ability to pay. The government has actually set up a program called Fannie Mae. It's designed to give every American 10 mortgages so they can buy 10 rent properties, 10 houses, including their personal residence.
A lot of folks are really concerned about prices dropping, and maybe that home is not that sure thing investment that they should do. What would be an option for them?
Well, a home is not an asset. You hit on something that's actually a very true point. A home is not an asset, it's a doggone liability. Yet most people are told that, hey, your home is the biggest asset you're ever going to buy. No, it's actually your biggest liability. So an asset is when you go out and buy a rent property and someone else is paying for that mortgage, paying for those taxes and insurance and maintenance and so on. So did I answer your question?
Pretty much.
Okay.
What do you feel is going to happen with oil prices? Do you think they're going to go back up?
I do. I don't believe, the way that I understand it, the few articles that I've read, the OPEC nations cannot survive with, their economies don't work when oil is only $50 a barrel. It needs to come up. So I think it's a very temporary thing.
Okay, we'll just have to wait and see. Steve Davis, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Here.
I appreciate it.
Your expertise is new information for us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Glad it was helpful.